Hi, and welcome to the Market Alert for Thursday, the 31st of July 2025. Too late, Powell explains why rate cuts remain off the table despite dissent and growth doubts, moderating growth, serially underperforming inflation, but no cuts. Well, I don't know about serially underperforming inflation. That's not what I'm seeing anywhere. Most divided, Fed in 32-year refuses to cut rates. Again, the first double governor dissent since 1993. And the dollar soars to 2 months high. Stocks tumble as hawkish Powell trumps dovish Fed. And US stocks finish lower on a hawkish Powell, although futures rebound after market on earnings from Meta and Microsoft. Any excuse to bring the market back. And dollar and yields gain amid GDP beat and hawkish Powell. So Powell has been very hawkish in his press conference, and that means that there's no chance of rates being cut anytime soon. So let's have a look at the market's reaction to this. You can see yesterday, 7 p.m, there was no cuts in rates. And economic news today, we've just got German prelim CPI, core PCE, which is coming from the US, and then employment cost index and unemployment claims. Tomorrow, of course, we've got the non-farm payroll numbers. That's what the market is going to be waiting for today. So let's have a look at the market's reaction to this from yesterday and kick off with the Dow. So in the Dow yesterday, the market trading down to the support to the left. The market obviously finding this support very useful as it tries to move off the 20-bar moving average back to create a new all-time high, and there's no reason why it can't, because if it's moved higher when Powell refuses to cut rates, then what's it going to do when he does? That's for sure. So yesterday the Dow was sideways, apart from a bit of activity during the cash market, but you can see the market's reaction to Powell, and then Meta and Microsoft supporting the market on the overnight futures there. So already the market has discounted what Powell had to say, and they'll continue to move it to the upside. I can't think of anything or see anything at the moment that the markets are going to drop and stay to the downside. Now we continue to go to war. The wars continue in the Middle East, etc. And we've got inflation, despite what Powell says there. We have a problem where there's not much growth, that I agree with, and yet the markets continue to move to the upside. And they will continue to do so as well. It's the only way that Trump is going to pacify the people that voted for him. The 401k pensions continuing to increase in value. That's how you keep people on board these days, is you make sure that they're making a few quid in the stock markets. However you rig that, whether it's through algorithms, AI now, or whatever, high frequency trading, then that's exactly what you do. I mean, you have to look at the UK for that. We'll see that shortly. Let's have a look at the German DAX. So in the German DAX, quietish day yesterday, and overnight market sideways. The market's been sideways for a while. You can see it's range bound there, and then you can also see there's another range inside of this range as well. So becoming a bit quieter by the day for the German DAX. 30-minute chart yesterday, we started off quite well, and then we went into a sell. Market came back quite nicely for the day, and then of course we had the Powell conference, and then we had the release of the Microsoft and Meta earnings, sending the market up. Overnight though, a bit of weakness here. I'd expect this to continue when the cash market opens. So prices down, coming off yesterday's high. Meanwhile, in the S&P, we have a new all-time high. So again, it just goes to show, doesn't it? You can see yesterday the market down, but it didn't take long to recover. And you'll see that in the 30-minute chart, quiet until we had Powell speak. The market smashed volume there. Meta, Microsoft up above the high. Not only is it the high, it's a new all-time high. So imagine how much of a move we'd have had in this market yesterday had Powell actually cut rates. Meanwhile, in the UK, as I've just mentioned, growth problems and all the rest of it, inflation, and yet we've made a new all-time high in this market. Keep the people happy. Make sure that they make a few quid if they have got a few quid invested. That's the key here, and you'll get re-elected. And 30-minute charts, you'll see the market down, and then a bit of a retracement, and then up, and then of course you've got Powell making noises last night. Just going back to saying that you'll get re-elected, of course that's tongue-in-cheek if Starmer's still there in 2029. God, the thought's awful, isn't it? Anyway, let's move on. Let's not dwell on that one. And in the US dollar, you'll see that this moved sharply to the upside yesterday. And as I said in yesterday's alert, if they don't cut rates, then the US dollar moves sharply higher. And that's exactly what happened. And of course, the counter to that is that the metals get crushed. So let's have a look at the metals. So silver, well, it was monkey hammered, wasn't it? But that was a given. We already knew that was going to be the case if rates weren't cut. It could do that even if rates were cut, to be honest with you. Well, they would have done it one time, but I think silver's a lot stronger now. And there you can see as well that overnight prices are finding support. And there you'll see the first is the LBMA shakeout at lunchtime, and then Powell. And they couldn't help it. They just couldn't resist the opportunity to slam the price of silver there. They did the same in gold as well, but gold is a bit more resilient and buying back there as well at the moment. And of course, this is an opportunity for central banks to actually buy the shakeout, which is what you're seeing there. And there you can see it more clearly in the 30-minute chart with all of the volume. There's the LBMA fix at lunchtime. It's blatant when you see it on the price chart on a daily basis. So let's have a look at the gold-silver ratio. And in the gold-silver ratio, we wouldn't expect anything else. The market moving back up towards the 90 level there. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually makes it to that level as well. Right, let's have a look at the German DAX 2-minute chart from yesterday. So in the pre-market session, it was choppy, and then the market started to move lower. And as the cash market opened, it went lower still, but then found some support. As you can see there, we started to get into a sideways range over about 30 minutes before we saw a potential buy signal. This buy signal failed as the market couldn't get past the resistance there of the BRN, the big round number, and moved and shook out to the market. We then had a quick trade to the downside, which you see there, back down to the BRN. So we were trapped between these two levels during yesterday, with prices then reversing off this, and then the next three buy trades all turning into profits, as you'll see, but choppy in the process of doing this as well. So there we head back to the close, and then we go through the treading water situation, waiting for the Dow, and you can see they're still treading water. The FOMC meeting minutes in the evening before we had another potential buy, which was filled, and then moved to the upside there. And then we had a potential sell signal, but you can see straight away, this is always a bit of a clue with this, when it gets filled and then it starts trading sideways and you see the support coming in. So price is then sideways, and then we get a potential buy, which is filled, and then prices move to the upside and then go on to tread water before the release of the FOMC meeting minutes. And the reaction was really a bit of a damp squib. So let's have a look at this. So here we go. This is the reaction to no change in rates. That's all there was. It's incredible. But of course, when Powell started to speak, different reaction there. And then, of course, we had a pullback. And then we had, as we got to the end of the Dow cash session, you can see there, 2100, you'll see the volume being pumped in there as they move the futures higher and continue to do this overnight. And prices trading back to yesterday's high, which you can see there. But at the moment, we've got a bit of a pullback down to the DP, but we've also got some buying coming into the market at the moment to try and bring these prices back to the upside. So at the moment, we can see prices moving back to the upside. Might get a bit of weakness in the DAX when it opens initially. But as I said earlier, there's nothing to stop these markets from moving higher. You may get the odd day with a pullback, but there is nothing out there at the moment, whether geopolitically. The only thing is going to be is a black swan event coming out of nowhere that's going to move these markets to the downside. Other than that, we continue to make new all-time highs, which we saw in the S&P overnight. Okay, that's it for this one. So have a great day. And as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.